Hello, women helping women entrepreneurs. How are we doing this wonderful Thursday morning? It is so amazing to be here. I'm so thankful for the opportunity to go live in this group, you guys. Today, you guys may have seen me. For those of you who do not know me, I'm Monique Marie Bradford. I am a podcast facilitator and one of the podcast hosts for Digital Trailblazers, where we help people create courses, scale their courses, or coaching programs, and it's a beautiful thing. But today I want to talk about podcasting and how you can get more clients from podcast guesting specifically. You guys may have seen me post in this group many times before. Telling people that we are currently looking for new podcast guests. We're always looking for new people to feature on our podcast, specifically course creators, coaches in all different types of niches. So whether you're in health and wellness, you're in personal development, you're a business coach, or you're in financial freedom and wealth coaching, you help people to get more money in their lives, or you are about faith and family. So we have a family of 5 podcasts, and then we also have our main podcast, which is called Digital Trailblazer Podcast, and that is where we feature the high 6, 7, 8-figure income earners who are helping people or showing what they're doing to grow their business. So very valuable podcast for you business owners out there who want to scale in the digital space. So I highly suggest you go ahead and check out our podcast. I'll put down the link in the comment section to apply to be on our podcast or one of our podcasts, and also information on our podcast in the comments. So if you guys are interested and you're a coach, consultant, or course creator and you want to be featured on a podcast, then definitely feel free to apply to make sure that we're a good fit, because we would love to have you. Now, let's jump into the topic today. I'm very excited to talk about this because I feel like podcasting is a great way to reach new people using other people's audiences, right? I absolutely love what I do. I'm able to talk to so many wonderful entrepreneurs all over the world. And it's just such a beautiful thing. It keeps me on my toes, you guys. So let's talk about it. So, how to get more clients from specifically podcast guesting using other people's audience. Tip number one number one is target the right podcast. So you want to identify podcasts whose audiences aligns with your target clients, or and where your expertise can add significant value. So you want to make sure that you are looking for podcasts that you align with their audience. So if you were to feature, say, on our Business Growth Trailblazers podcast, then you know that you are speaking directly to business owners, right? Other entrepreneurs who want to grow their business. So if you are a business coach and you are helping people with strategy to gain more sales, excuse me, let me put this on do not disturb, to gain more sales or whatever it is, then you would know, okay, let me feature on the Business Growth Trailblazers podcast, right? If you are a health coach and you are helping people get healthy, whether it's through nutrition, exercise, if you are talking to so many wonderful women nowadays who are working in the menopause, perimenopause, space when it comes to health and wellness. So whatever it is you do in health and wellness, then you want to feature on podcasts whose audience are listeners who are interested in getting healthy. So like our Health and Wellness Trailblazers podcast, where we feature health coaches, and the most of the people in our audience there are people who want to live a healthy lifestyle, right? So they're listening in every day on tips how they can maintain and live a healthy lifestyle. If you are a personal development or mindset coach, right? You want to make sure to feature on a podcast where it's personal development based, where people are listening in all the time and they want to grow in their personal development. They're on a personal growth journey. So you would fit very well on our Personal Development Trailblazers podcast, where there's a lots of entrepreneurs listening there also people who work in leadership and corporate, and they are just on a personal development journey. So that's where you want to make sure that you target the right podcast to guest on, right? Because you don't want to just be speaking it. You can't sell steak to a vegan, right? And we say that a lot in the marketing world, right? So you want to make sure that. Tip number 2, craft a compelling pitch. Okay, so tailor your pitch to each podcast host that you reach out to, emphasizing how your expertise and insights can benefit their listeners, right? And one thing to do is just say, I've listened to, so listen to the person's podcast, the host, and say, you know what, I've listened to a lot of the podcast that you have on here, and I feel like I'd be a great fit because nobody's talking about this specific thing. So if you have something really different that you're speaking about, or that you're helping clients with in a certain space, a certain niche, then definitely let them know, hey, I make a great guest because I can talk about something different to your guest in the business space, right? Or in the health and wellness space, right? So let them know how you can benefit their listeners. It's not all about you just getting the benefit of being on the podcast, but also how can you help them and help their listeners? What value can you add to them and their audience, right? So craft a compelling pitch that showcases that. Also, tip number 3, prepare engaging content. Okay, so develop stories. Stories sell. Facts tell, stories sell, right? Everybody loves a good story. So develop stories, examples, and insights that are both informative and entertaining, capturing the attention of the audience, right? Anytime somebody listens to a story, it makes a great connection with the audience. They know, I can relate to this person. I've been through something similar, or I know somebody who's been through something similar, and they'll want to connect with you because they can relate to you, right? And also, hey, I can connect with this person and I need their product or service as well. So prepare engaging content. And what we like to do is on our podcast application, we ask, what are some of the different topics that you like to talk about, right? So even have some topics prepared that you like to specifically teach on, or that you work with on your clients. What are some of the things that you're hearing your clients that they need help with often, right? What are some of the common things that you're hearing with the multiple clients that you're working with? So speak on those things to attract those people who need help with the same thing. So prepare some engaging content. Just be prepared. Number 4, include a strong call to action. This is very important because we want to make sure that we are not just, doing the hard work. It's not really hard work. It's actually fun work, but work is work, right? We don't want to be working in vain. So we want to make sure that we are actually able to convert from podcast guesting, right? And when I say convert, I mean getting more clients, getting more leads, right? So, include a strong call to action. Provide listeners with a clear next step, whether it's visiting your website, subscribing to your newsletter, or contacting you. And I would highly, highly suggest having a lead magnet, right? Because you want to make it super simple and easy for people to connect with you, to get into your world, specifically your email list. So I would highly suggest creating a freebie, and then having at the end of your podcast say, hey, it's about all the topics that you talked about. If you're interested in, losing weight, and I created a free weight loss tracker, or, I created a free, 10 tips on how to lose the belly fat in 30 days, or something like that. You want to create that freebie so that every time you do a podcast guesting episode, you can easily get people into your world and onto your email list. And it's very hard, and we talk about this a lot with Digital Trailblazer, which is some of the things that we help people with, is, it's very hard to offer a call. A lot of people are offering, you can book a call or schedule a call with me, a free call. it is very difficult to have somebody just meet you for the first time on a podcast and commit to jumping on a call with you, right? Because it takes a lot of their time. They have to schedule it, and they don't really know you that well, like you or trust you that well, which is why we say get people onto that email list, have some touch points, date them for a while, right? Because asking for the call in our world in the digital space at the first point of contact is basically like meeting somebody out at the mall or something, and you walk up to them and say, hey, you want to get married, right? We don't want to. It's the same way in the digital space. You want to date somebody for a second, so you want to offer some value. Hey, here's a free gift for you. Let them get to know you through your optimized sales system that hopefully you guys have in place. If you don't, then definitely reach out and we can schedule a free business consultation, and we can get you on your way to building out the things that you need to successfully convert online or doing podcast guesting. But you want to make sure that you have multiple touch points with folks so that you're not just going in and asking them to book a call. So highly suggest get a freebie, and it makes it easy thing for you to give away and provide value at the end of every single podcast guesting opportunity that you take advantage of, right? It's very, very simple to do that. Also, next tip is promote your guest appearances. I can't tell you how many people we have on our podcast who are not promoting the episode. Make the most out of it. Share your episode on your social media, your website. Share it out to your email list to maximize reach and engagement. You guys, being on somebody else's podcast is a great way to create authority in your space, right? So take advantage of that. Share it to everywhere. Pin it. I tell people, pin it to your social media profile at the top to show that you are doing the work. You are out here putting in the work and providing value. And then you're also being featured on other people's podcasts, and you're doing the work of the networking, and it looks really good to showcase that. So definitely make sure you're promoting your guest appearances. Don't just let them sit, promote it. Next tip is build relationships. Connect with hosts and social media and nurture the relationship to potentially receive future guest invites or referrals, right? They always say your network is your net worth, right? So make sure that you're connecting with different podcast hosts and on social media and just building those genuine relationships, right? Go on their page, like stuff, comment, interact. So that way, when they testing opportunity available, they're thinking of you, right? It's a beautiful thing. Next tip, and I have two more. This is tip number 7. Leverage your content. So this is awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay. Repurpose your podcast content into blog posts, social media updates, and other formats to extend its reach and impact. For those of us, and I've told a lot of people, podcast guests before who've been on the podcast with me, if you do a long form video, your podcast episode, right? Which we do. There is a really cool tip, an AI tool that's called Opus Clip. So if you have a long form video and it's your podcast episode, you can just upload that share the link into Opus Clip, OPUS Clip, right? And it'll chop it down for you into short form video. So that way you can share that episode through Reels, through TikToks, through shorts on YouTube, and then redirect them to the longer form, right? Or just say, hey, jump on my email list and I'll send you the full episode, or whatever it is that you want to do. But absolutely repurpose the content, you guys. Leverage that content. Now, tip number 8 is track and analyze your results. Okay, we want to make sure that we're actually getting results from what it is that we're doing. All these conversations that we're having on other people's podcasts, we want to track and analyze those results. So monitor how your guest appearances are converting into leads. okay, and clients, how they're converting into leads and clients to refine your strategy and maximize results. So we want to know our numbers. We want to know what's working, what's not working, and to adjust accordingly, right? Because we're not here to just have conversations and to network, which is great and it's a beautiful thing. It's a fun thing to do, but we want to make sure that we are getting what it is that we're here for, which is leads and conversions, right? In sales. Okay, so I hope that these tips helped you, and then I have a few additional tips here. I'm just going to share a few additional tips. I only have a short amount of time left. I think about 10 minutes, but invest in quality audio equipment. Okay, so this ensures that your appearance is professional and enhances the listening experience. And I had to learn this along the way. I use simple, my pods, my Apple earbuds or whatever, because there was one point where I wasn't using the earbuds and I could hear feedback right through when I would do podcast episodes with other people. So just make sure that you have headphones. Invest in a mic. They have plenty on Amazon. Check those out. Invest in a mic. Invest in some headphones or ear pods. So at least you have that down, because you want it to sound good. People don't want to listen to feedback or bad quality stuff. It's nobody's gonna want to listen to that, right? It's kind of annoying. So and another one is be prepared. Another additional tip: be prepared. So know your topic, have relevant stories ready, and anticipate potential questions. So just be prepared, right? Know what it is that you're talking about, and even let the podcast host say, hey, here's some topics I'd like to discuss. You can ask me these questions, right? Do a little bit of that prep work, and it goes a long way. Here's another one: connect with other guests. So networking with other experts can lead to new opportunities and collaborations, right? And we just got out of our networking group today, in one of our groups, and it was awesome. So many awesome entrepreneurs connecting with each other. So connect with other guests. And then be patient. Okay, so that is the last tip that I'm going to share today. Be patient and persistent. It takes time and effort to build a podcast guesting strategy. You're going to go along the way. You may need to tweak some things that generates leads and clients. So just be patient, be persistent. Make sure that you are doing at least one to a few podcast episodes a week if this is the strategy that you really want to use to grow your business. Okay, and then, like I said, have that really good freebie in place so that you're getting people. You're not just podcast guesting in vain. You're actually bringing people into your world so that you can generate those leads and sales that you're looking for. Okay, so in the comment section, everyone, I will put our podcast application there for you to apply to be on one of our podcasts. We do have a family of podcasts in different niches. We are looking specifically for coaches, consultants, and course creators in different niches. Like I said, whether you're in mindset or personal development, health and wellness, financial freedom and wealth, faith and family, business growth, or you are one of those high 6, 7, 8-figure earners who've mastered marketing and you want to share what's working for you to grow your business, then you would be a good fit for our main podcast, the Digital Trailblazer podcast. So definitely feel free to apply. We would love to have you. So I'm glad that I was able to come here today and show my face. I know you guys have been seeing a lot of me posting just the text post of, looking for podcast guests. So it's awesome that I have the opportunity here to come live with you and share some tips on how to make the most out of your podcast guesting. Also, I'll put the link down for our application below. I'll also have our podcast there, so you guys can check that out, and definitely give us a like and subscribe, and share our podcast with others if you think it may benefit them. And also, I will put the link down below to our podcast group, to where if you are looking for other podcast guesting opportunities, if you've already been on our podcast, because I know we have had quite a few people in this Women Helping Women group, lots of ladies who have been on the podcast through this group, then you join our podcasting group and you'll have an opportunity to guest on other people's podcasts. Or if you do have a podcast, you have the opportunity to find guests for your podcast there as well. So I'll put that down in the comments. Let's see, can I do that now? Da, 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 da. I don't think I can do it. Oh, yes, I can. So let me go ahead and do that now before I jump off. I have just a few minutes left. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them down also in the comment section below. I'll come back and check on it so that I can get your question answered. Okay, so now I am going to just go ahead and paste the podcast application in the comments along with our podcast info so you can check that out. All right, let's see. And then I'm also going to post our Facebook podcast Facebook group for those of you who are looking for additional podcast guesting opportunities, or you have your own podcast and you would like to find more guests. It's an awesome group. We're getting a lot of people that are saying that they're getting podcast guesting opportunities from our group and that they are also finding guests, and that is such a beautiful thing for us. Okay? So I hope that this provided value to you guys and gave you some good tips on how to make the most out of podcast guesting and actually generate leads and generate sales. Until next time, everyone, be blessed, okay? And we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.